Hello, this is Justice Backstrom, and welcome back to another random video. So I came across this RobWords video a couple months ago, and he was going over the history of punctuation marks. But what really caught my interest was just the fact of how recent, historically speaking, the use of punctuation marks is, and especially when he said that we didn't even used to use spaces. And I guess I was just kind of blown away by that, because I'm thinking, anyways, it got me thinking whether or not I could read without spaces and punctuation marks. So I copy and pasted, avoiding reading as much as possible, a few paragraphs from some Edgar Allan Poe works, because that was the only thing I could think of. They are not... So here's this poem, and I haven't read it myself, and I had Sir Snowa go in and remove all the punctuation and capitalization and everything and spaces, and I'm gonna see how well I can read it without those. So, O times, O manners, it is my opinion that you are changing, sadly, your dominion. I mean the reign of manners hath long ceased for me. For men have none at all, or bad at least, and as for times all that can't be although. Although 'tis a... Although... What? For times all thought 'tis said... although it is said... Although 'tis said by many, the good old times were far the worst of any of which sound doctrinal believe, each tittle, yet still I think these worse than them a little. I've been a-thinking, isn't that the phrase I like your Yankee words and Yankee ways? I've been a-thinking whether it were best to take things seriously or all in jest, whether with grim Heraclitus of yore to weep as he did till his eyes were sore, or rather laugh with him at queer philosopher Democritus of Thrace, who used to toss over the page of life and grin at the dog ears as though he'd say, why not? Why who the devil cares? Wow. Okay. If you couldn't tell by my halted reading of that, I really struggled with that. Without all I can say is thank God for punctuations. But the other thing, in that video, Rob said that
all of this meant that the Romans and Greeks were constantly having to reread things until they understood them. And what's more, they would do so out loud because they found that the rhythms of speech helped them with the deciphering.
And that's why they would never read in quietly. They would always read out loud. Was that reading it out loud helped their cadence? And so this was a poem, and I am trying to compensate for the fact that perhaps it being a poem would make it easier for me to read, even though it's not one I'm familiar with. I'm going to go ahead and read this, another one of Edgar Allan Poe's, just the first couple paragraphs of one of his short stories. So if the cadence were helping me get through that last one, then I hope you get what I'm trying to say. This one shouldn't help me in that way. Alright, many years ago, I contracted an intimacy with a Mr. William Legrand. He was of an ancient Huguenot family and had once been wealthy, but a series of misfortunes had reduced him to want. To avoid the mortification consequent as I was. To avoid the mortification consequent upon his disasters, he left New Orleans, the city of his forefathers, and took up his residence. I'm gonna try and follow along with the cursor just so you guys can see where I am. Took up his residence at Sullivan's Island, near Charleston, South Carolina. This island is a very singular one. It consists of little else than the sea sand and is about 3 miles long. Its breadth at no point exceeds 1/4 of a mile. It is separated from the mainlands by a scarcely perceptible creek oozing its way through a wilderness of reeds and slime. A favorite sort of the marsh henth. What? Marsh henth the vegetation. a favorite sort of the Martian, I don't know, the vegetations might be supposed is scant or at least dwarfish. No trees of any magnitude are to be seen near the western extremity, where Fort Moultrie and where Fort Moultrie stands, and where are some miserable frame buildings. 10 anti during summer. I don't know what that means. By the fugitives from Charleston. Dust and fever may be found, indeed, the bristly palm et palmetto. The bristly palmetto, but the whole island, with the exception of this western point and a line of hard white beach on the sea coast, is covered with a dense undergrowth of the sweet myrtle, so much prized by the horticulturists of England, and the horticulture of England, and that's where that period probably is. The shrub hereof, the shrub here often attains the height of 15 or 25 feet, and forms an almost impenetrable coppice, burthening the air with its fragrance. Oh, wow. Okay. So, I don't know. I still stumbled through it. Like, I wonder, if I read like this all the time, I could probably get a little bit used to it. Still, most of that, I just read it like it was one long sentence. And, again, all I can say is thank God that we have, punctuations and spaces nowadays. Anyways, before I end this video, I want to remind you, check out that video by RobWords. I'll have it linked in the description. Also, go ahead and check out Sir Snowa's channel. Big shout out to him for deleting all the punctuation for me and helping me out with this project. But with that being said, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.